Imagine those 2, 3, 4 millions that came out of Egypt. Imagine that only one, maybe two, really grasped the functionalistic perspective of Imago Dei. Only one, maybe two, at most three. Moses, I showed my way. And Joshua sat with Moses and said, where you go, I go. I'm not leaving you. They said that when God came down, Joshua was there on the mountain. He followed Moses. He would not go back. So maybe Joshua too got a little of a way, right? So he gave Joshua the strategy that made Moses to succeed. This word of the Lord shall not depart out of your mouth. In it shall you meditate day and night. And then you will make your way prosperous. See, he dealt with those that engage with him not on the basis of action per se, but on the basis of a journey. I want to take you on a journey. Follow me. He said when he came as a man, and I will make you fishers of men. My strategy is transformational commitment unto humanity, but the only way you can get there is if you walk with me a little bit. So we saw him walk with them on the way to Emmaus. We saw him walk with them after he died in what is it called, the mountain of ascension. So the mediators of power are able to access the functionalistic perspective by relationship, and then they're able to impact both human and non-human world. You are free to stop me as I share, so that we can delve into whatever you don't understand. See, so let's go into history a little bit. The Renaissance thinkers, that is people that lived around Martin Luther Jr. I'm not talking about Martin Luther, I have a dream. I'm talking about Luther, um, here I stand. Martin Luther of nailed it to the chapel door, nailed the thesis to the chapel door. So from the time of Martin Luther, the reformer, late into the 17th and the 18th century, those are the times that are called the modern era in history. Some of you think you are moderns. You are not moderns. You are so not moderns. Okay? Actually, you are not postmoderns again. You are not even postmoderns. You are meta-moderns. But we will not go into that. Moderns starts in around 15 something. That's when the Middle Age ended and people began to think differently. Now, moderns, the the pre-moderns, the pre-moderns from the apostolic era nearly to throughout the Middle Age. The Middle Age was a very, very bad time. Uh, Knowledge became essentially stagnant. But there were some few bright light like John of the Cross, like Teresa of Avila, and so on and so forth. But it became very stagnant. But after Martin Luther said, the just shall live by faith, it was like there was an explosion of knowledge again. And the people began to imagine a creative, transformative energy. They began to imagine a creative, transformative energy, an energy by which humans, in imitation of God's own creative activity, deploy their capacity to shape earthly life through cultural, historical actions. Humans deploy their capacity. People believe that they could change the world. You know, Brother Ogunye, you can mute yourself, sir.
Yes, sir. 1 second, sir. I'll do it right now.
People believed passionately that they can change the world. They believed it and they pursued it. So you have people like Florence Nightingale, you have people like Lord Shaftesbury, you have people like John Wesley who look at the world and say the world is my puppet. You have people like what's his name? This fellow who evangelized China, who went to China with nothing. Those guys believe that they can change the world. You know, these days we do not engage too much with let's change the world again. We engage more with let's change me. That shows that you are not a modern. That shows you're a postmodern or at worst a meta modern. So that's why you have a lot of this self help thing. In those days, nobody was thinking self help. Everybody was thinking, how can we help change the world? So it started actually from an understanding of imago Dei, an understanding. So Martin Luther and his friend, it was because they understood the massive reality of a creator God that have chosen to be a blessing to humans. Let's go forward. But those who are not a Christian, who are not Christians among the Renaissance thinkers, they began to carry this thought of agency to an extreme. They began to imagine an hyper humanistic estate. Hyper humanistic estate where human creativity extends to a point where humans were able to create themselves. Did you hear that? Did you see that? I want you to think about that for a minute. And believe me, that was what was behind the Second World War, the Aryan myth, where they believe that they are the best race in the world. There is no one like them, and so on and so forth. It is something that started good, but then became warped, and the enemy took it over. Let's go on. So the Renaissance humanists, they actually began to detach themselves from God. They began to say, we are humanist. So humanist is not a, for us, humanist is not a very nice word. Don't call yourself a humanist.